This is Hesper Hyman, and this is my AEP858 Module 5, my story as it pertains to data analysis. So the first thing we look at is, who is Textline ISD? So if we look at the TEA data of Textline ISD for the 2017-18 school season, you can see that we had 178 students enrolled. At that time, there was pretty even division of male to female students. And then you can see down the breakdown of the ethnicity of Textline ISD. We do have a very high population of Hispanic students, which is kind of above the state average at this time. We also have a large percentage of economically disadvantaged students, and that percentage is currently about 4% above the state average. So when we look at continuous school improvement and planning as it pertains to Textline ISD, currently Textline ISD does have a B rating with the state, which means that we have met all of our standards. Of course, our goal should always be to get to that A rating. So if we look at the areas of rating that TEA looks at, first we look at how is this district performing overall, student achievement, school progress, and closing the gap. So we're going to look a little bit more in depth at each one of those. First, we need to break down what some of the wording means on our star performance levels. Approaching grade level means that students are likely to succeed at the next grade level with targeted academic intervention. These are going to be your students that are going to be in your second and possibly third tiers of your RTIs. You've got meets grade level. Here again, these students have a high likelihood of success at the next grade level, but they still might need some short-term targeted academic intervention in certain areas. This could be some of your tier ones that you're looking at. And then last, you have your master's grade level. These students have exceeded all expectations and should succeed at the next grade level with little to no academic interventions. So if we look at the 2017-18 performance of the STAR assessment, which is our state assessment here in Texas, we can see that we had a STAR performance score of 71 out of 100. Not the best score, something that we definitely are working on. So the areas that we need to focus on, so if we start at the bottom, approaches grade level, you can see we are at 72%, which is below the state average of 75%. The meets grade level, we're at 38, which is below the 48 state percent. And then the masters, we're at 15, which is also below the state level. So while we, as you'll see in a minute, are gaining in our academic performance, we still have not met all of the state averages. Looking at student achievement as it pertains to the college and career readiness, we have a large percentage of 91 out of 100, which makes 63% are college and career ready. This is above the state average of 54%. And then the number of students that graduate on time in our district is 95 out of 100. We actually have 100%. When you look at this breakdown, when you only have 178 kids, one kid can make a difference. So, when we look at these percentages, we have to remember in the cases of students, we're talking about 1, 2, possibly 3 students. This is what I was talking about school progress. You can see that what percentage of students made a year's worth of academic growth in reading and math. These are the two STAR testing areas that the state looks at. And you can see that we had 75% that grew at least a year, if not more, during that academic year. This is above the state average. My feeling is if we continue on this trend, you're going to continue to close that gap on the STAR performance. And this brings us to the next part, closing the gaps. So grade level performance here, they have percentage of goals met, and we're going to break this down here in just a second. It shows 7 out of 12 targets. This is a breakdown of each category being Caucasian, Hispanic, low income, and the different categories, and we're setting at 58%. This does still meet standard. It just we definitely want to see this number rising. So then we have our academic growth and graduation rate and our student achievement. Both of those are at 100%. So this is the breakdown. So if you look at the different student groups and where they have met or not met, in our reading, we are meeting standard. In math, we are not meeting standard currently. And that is by a small percentage. Then you have the breakdown. You have the Hispanic not met in reading, but they are meeting in math. Now, the reverse is true in what's considered our white demographics. They are meeting in reading and not meeting in math. And then our economically disadvantaged, we have been meeting in both areas. So how do we continue to make improvements at Textline ISD? I think we have some great interventions in place, and we have a great way of reaching out and identifying those students. I think that we need to continue with the programs that we have in place. They've only been in place for approximately 2 years. We need to have at least 3 years worth of data to make sure that we're gaining. And since we are seeing improvements, we do know that these interventions are working. The intervention programs that we're currently using are Edgenuity. This is for our junior high and high school. It can also be for credit recovery. At the elementary and middle school level, we've got our Fountas and Fennell level literacy intervention and our AVMR math. Some other things that we need to do is we need to continue to monitor and adjust our RTI as needed. We need to make sure that we're identifying students who need our help as soon as possibly, especially in that reading and math categories. We need to make sure that we're getting the one-on-one intervention that they need. It's very important that we continue that relevant and rigorous classroom instruction. This is where students are getting the majority of their information. This is where they're doing the majority of their learning. So we need to continue this every day. And then it's very important that we continue to monitor and adjust. We do this in the classroom. We do this with each one of our interventions. If something's not working, we need to look for something new. Through all of this, I hope that we continue to build up Textline ISD and continue to improve every year. Thank you for watching.